Before history learned to celebrate intelligence with statues and textbooks, there were minds whose brilliance reshaped reality so quietly that the world forgot to notice. In the opening moments of this journey, we enter a time when intelligence was survival, memory was technology, and understanding the sky, stone, and seasons meant the difference between flourishing civilizations and sudden extinction. The earliest intelligent minds weren't chasing fame, they were decoding existence itself. They mapped cycles of climate, stars, and catastrophe, leaving behind legends, alignments, and warnings disguised as myth, awaiting rediscovery by a future that had forgotten. Across ancient landscapes, now broken by erosion and time, lost civilizations reveal intelligence expressed not through written words, but through precision, scale, and harmony with nature. Cities aligned with solstices, maps traced coastlines long erased by rising seas, and oral traditions preserved astronomical knowledge across generations without ink or paper. This suggests that advanced cognition thrived long before modern academia claimed its origins. These societies understood climate cycles, resource balance, and human psychology deeply enough to endure for centuries, until disaster or conquest intervened, burying brilliance beneath sand and jungle. Within forbidden texts and misinterpreted maps, some of history's most intelligent minds remain partially erased. Knowledge has always threatened power, and intelligence that empowers people tends to unsettle those who rule. So, ideas were burned, discoveries reclassified, and thinkers reframed as myth or madness, even when they proposed advanced mathematics and environmental awareness centuries ahead of their time. This reveals a pattern where brilliance survives, not through recognition, but through secrecy, symbolism, and transmission, disguised as legend, patiently waiting for technology and curiosity to align once again. Archaeology today stands at a crossroads. Modern technology, satellite imaging, and AI are beginning to confirm what ancient minds already understood. Earth changes suddenly. Societies are fragile, and intelligence must be adaptive to survive. Yet, political influence often shapes which discoveries are celebrated and which are sidelined. Rewriting history destabilizes identities and belief systems, so uncomfortable evidence is often delayed or dismissed, even as buried cities and lost infrastructures resurface, forcing us to confront how much wisdom was achieved, then forgotten not through ignorance, but through choice. As we close this opening movement, we're left with an unsettling realization. Intelligence has never belonged to one era or nation, but flows through time like an underground river, resurfacing when conditions allow. The most intelligent minds in history weren't always celebrated. Many were ignored, silenced, or erased. The true measure of our intelligence may not be how much we know, but whether we choose to remember, protect. Have you ever wondered about the geniuses of the past? Not just their inventions, but their struggles. Intelligence didn't just appear. It took human form in people whose minds simply burned too bright for their time. They were the ones who questioned everything: gods, rulers, even reality itself. They saw patterns no one else noticed, turning the chaos of nature into the beautiful logic of numbers, music, and mechanics. But in societies built on certainty, seeing further than everyone else is a dangerous thing. When you shift the horizon, you invite fear, exile, or worse. The smartest minds were often only praised long after they were gone. Their revolutionary ideas softened into safe, comfortable legends for future generations who wanted answers, but not the uncomfortable truths that came with them. From ancient Greece to the Islamic Golden Age, intelligence bloomed wherever curiosity was allowed to survive. Mathematicians mapped infinity, physicians cataloged the human body, and astronomers charted the heavens with instruments that were banned in other parts of the world. But politics always had the final say. Rulers decided which knowledge to fund and which to forbid, not for the sake of truth, but for power. Libraries were built and then burned. Scholars were either useful tools or dangerous threats, and when plagues, invasions, or climate disasters struck, they scattered knowledge to the winds, forcing humanity to reinvent things that had already been mastered centuries before, their records gathering dust in forgotten archives. The most dangerous minds were the ones who connected the dots, blending engineering with philosophy, or climate science with politics. They didn't just see facts, they saw entire systems. This terrified institutions that relied on keeping knowledge separate and people in their place. So, these polymaths were often accused of heresy or madness. Their writings were censored, their names erased. Why? Because a unified understanding of reality undermines rigid hierarchies. It shows how everything is connected to our environment, our beliefs, our leaders, and that changing one part can destabilize the whole system. This truth has been buried again and again under simple stories and heroic myths. Today, technology is helping us resurrect these lost minds. Algorithms are decoding ancient languages. Climate models are proving ancient warnings right, and digital reconstructions are revealing engineering brilliance we once dismissed as myth. But even with proof, we're slow to accept it. Influence and funding still favor safe conclusions. And we still prefer the myth of the lone genius over the reality of vast, interconnected networks of knowledge. It seems we're technologically advanced, but historically amnesiac, repeating the same mistakes our ancestors tried so hard to warn us about. Ultimately, intelligence isn't just about individual brilliance. It's a fragile inheritance, passed down through generations, shaped by crises, politics, and choice. The real question isn't who was the smartest, but why do we keep throwing away our sharpest tools? Every suppressed mind, every burned library, every forgotten warning. It narrows our future. Intelligence alone can't save a civilization. The final chapter of human intelligence isn't found in ancient stones or faded parchments. It's unfolding right now, in our uneasy present. We have more information than ever before, yet we struggle to apply wisdom. It's as if knowledge without memory is just noise. The most brilliant minds of the past weren't defined by data, but by foresight. They saw patterns stretching across centuries, climates, and civilizations. They warned that progress without restraint leads to collapse. It's a message etched into ruins, now re-emerging as rising seas, shifting weather, and unstable societies. Lessons once understood, then ignored. Climate change, once seen as divine punishment or a natural cycle, is now measured and modeled. But these models only confirm ancient observations carved into calendars and monuments. They show us that true intelligence once prioritized long-term survival over short-term gain. Our modern systems do the opposite, rewarding immediacy, consumption, and denial. This creates a paradox. Our advanced technology coexists with a strategic blindness. The smartest warnings are often politically inconvenient, so those who echo ancient caution are dismissed as alarmists, just like the forgotten thinkers before them. Intelligence doesn't disappear. It's just marginalized until disaster forces us to pay attention. But by then, our options have narrowed, and the consequences accelerate beyond control. Archaeology, now supercharged by AI and global collaboration, keeps uncovering evidence that humanity once achieved incredible intellectual heights. We see sustainable engineering, environmental balance, and social cohesion in their work. But these discoveries challenge our modern narrative of inevitable progress. They force us to confront uncomfortable truths about regression, suppression, and selective memory. Admitting that we lost golden ages means admitting accountability. It forces us to ask why that intelligence wasn't preserved, and whether our own civilization, despite its speed and scale, is actually less intelligent in practice. We are repeating failures encoded in ancient collapses while dismissing the very minds that tried to prevent them. Political influence still decides which ideas rise and which get buried. Education systems simplify history. Funding rewards conformity, and complexity is treated as a threat, not a strength. Intelligence remains fragmented, specialized, and controllable, instead of being holistic and transformative. In this environment, the most intelligent minds might not be the ones inventing faster machines. They might be the ones reconnecting knowledge across time, restoring continuity between past insight and future survival. Without that integration, intelligence is just power without direction, brilliance without wisdom, accelerating us toward outcomes we can already see in the ruins beneath our feet. Intelligence has never failed humanity. Humanity has failed intelligence. We silence it when it's inconvenient and celebrate it only when it's safe. Unless remembering becomes an act of courage rather than just nostalgia. The most intelligent minds in history may ultimately be those still unheard, watching from the past as we repeat their warnings, step by step, collapse by collapse, until forgetting itself becomes our final legacy. Thanks for watching.